This podcast is intended for adults 18 years and older. It contains explicit language and sexual situations. All thoughts and opinions expressed are of our own and not of those of any specific group, employer, or individual, and is not intended to take as professional advice.
Welcome to the Foreplay Podcast. Join the journey, experiences, and sexual adventures of two high school sweethearts navigating their way through the swinging lifestyle as millennials. Come along for the ride. Let's play.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Foreplay Podcast. It's Bella.
This is Jase.
And today's experience that we are talking about is our first lifestyle fail. Our first, bad experience.
I don't want to say it's a fail or a bad experience, but
it kind of was,
kind of, I guess.
So, this was back in, let me go to my notes.
We still lived in Oklahoma City, so it had to be
It was
5 years ago.
Summer of 2015.
Okay, so
a long time ago.
Yeah, 5 years ago.
I can't remember where we met this couple.
Okay, so I think that we had found them from some online dating website.
Yeah, but I wonder which one it was.
Maybe it was Adult Friend Finder again. Maybe we thought we stopped using that app, but we actually continued to use it.
We must have, because I don't remember going on SDC for a while.
Until at least we were in Texas.
Until we moved.
So maybe it was Adult Friend Finder?
Maybe. Probably. It wasn't meeting them in person from a club or anything.
Yeah.
Must have been Adult Friend Finder. They were cute, though. We should go back on an Adult Friend
Finder?
For real, we really should.
We need to look up and see if it even is a thing anymore.
I think it is, but
I remember, so you had talked to them or whatever, and I
talked to him.
Yeah, and we were supposed to just go meet them for a drink and then kind of see how the night went.
Yes.
And we met them this was in downtown Oklahoma City. We met them at some little sports bar type place. And I think we had dinner too, didn't we? Or did we just have a drink?
No, we had drinks. We went and there was a live band playing.
That's
Do you remember that? And then we sat over kind of where the band was. And then there was a booth almost seating.
Yeah.
So each person was sitting with their own partner. We were just talking, getting to know each other. And then I know at one point we swapped. I think the girls switched places. Do you remember that?
No.
Oh.
Not at all.
We did.
Okay, no, I have no remembrance
because we actually started being pretty flirty I know he was flirty with me, and I remember we were touching a little bit more.
I remember nothing about the dinner except meeting and having a drink, and I
don't even think we had food,
remember.
Though. But yeah, we definitely switched. So then she went over to you. You guys talked about whatever, but it must have been. Well, I don't know if you just blocked it out of your mind.
Maybe I did block it out of my mind
because it wasn't the best experience. Afterwards.
But I mean, okay, so basically what happens after we talked for a while, I just remember they were like, "Hey, do you want to come back to our place?" And we hadn't really, normally me and you now, whenever we meet the couple, we'll, go to the bathroom together or something just so we can, talk and communicate.
Yes.
But we didn't do that.
No.
Because we were so new to this. And you're like, yeah, we should go. And so I was like, okay. And we ended up...
No, I don't think I just made the command decision to go. I mean, we looked at each other. Usually what happens is, we'll look at each other... And then,
But now we go and just, have an actual conversation.
Yeah, by ourselves.
I think it's important to go talk as a couple. I feel like a lot of the times you don't need to just whisper under your breath.
Yeah, we didn't do a whisper. I just remember we, looked at each other and both of us kind of gave each other the eye and then just...
Yeah, but
nodded our head.
I think,
you know what I mean?
I think that I was still so new to it. I felt a little bit... It wasn't like they were weird or anything, but I just felt not... It just didn't feel like... Sometimes you just... when you're with a couple and you're just so this just feels right. It feels great. I just like them. We're vibing together a lot. I didn't feel that way with them.
Yeah, we didn't have that much in common.
Yeah, and I just didn't really know what to... I didn't know how to say anything there because we didn't go separate so we could actually go talk. Which I said, that's why I think it's so important to separate, go and talk by yourselves, like give the other couple a chance to talk to make sure that you're really all on the same page.
And I think in the lifestyle, people would understand. The other couple would understand. Now, I mean, I feel like even if we were on a date with a couple and they said, hey, we're just going to go talk about it real quick. Is that okay? Or like, hey, we're just going to go talk about it. Like, we'll be right back. I would,
we want to make sure we're on the same page.
Make sense.
Yeah, and I never
feel like
offended.
that should be like normalized.
100%.
Yeah.
I would never be offended too if afterwards someone was like, oh, we're just not feeling right tonight. That's perfectly fine.
This is like really fun. We should keep drinking or have it, keep talking here or whatever, but maybe not like go play or like go to another location yet.
Because you have to feel it. And because later you'll see in the story, this is why I think that things went bad was because I just didn't feel it.
I did. Like, I was okay with everything. I thought that we were on the same page.
So what we did do, though, was after we had said okay, and so we went to our car. And then whenever we got in the car, that's when I was like, hey, I don't know how I feel.
Yeah.
So we did talk about it once we were in the car, but we had already told him that we were going to go meet up with them.
So we should have done that before.
Yeah, we should have done that before. But
they invited us to their place. So we had to and it was maybe 20 minutes away. It wasn't close.
Yeah, it was nowhere close. And I remember me and you kept going back and it wasn't like going back and forth, but we were just having a conversation. I was like, I think that I'm okay, but I just don't know. And it just kept going back and forth. And then we were both like...
Well, I remember saying, well, if you don't want to do this, let's just not do it. And then I think that I said, I wish you would have told me there. So we didn't. And then I think you said, I didn't know how to bring it up.
That's and since then we've always talked about it. I think ever since then we've always went and had a conversation since this night.
We talked about it before because right? I'm sure we talked about it before where we saw their pictures, we talked to them. If everything goes well, we're going to go and full swap.
Yeah.
Like we all talked about that already.
Yeah, we were fine with that.
Yeah.
I just didn't know if I really wanted to. I didn't know if I was feeling them as a couple.
As we met.
Beforehand, I thought it was just going to be great. And it wasn't anything against them. Like Bella said, we had nothing in common. And we were just a different part of our lives. Like, we didn't have that much, interest-wise, not lifestyle-wise, we didn't have, like, that much to talk about. I almost feel like conversation, not was forced, it just didn't come as easily as it usually is, I feel like. And I'll also say, it's not that I was unattracted to the girl at all, but she definitely was not my type at all. So sometimes you have a lot of physical, like I feel like in the lifestyle, there's the emotional connection, if you want to call it that, where you're vibing or you're just like the personality, like you feel like you get along, and I feel like there's
like
also
the friendship kind of, not like emotional, not emotional, love or anything, just like
like you feel good around it,
like the friendship vibe.
Yeah, exactly. And then there's also the physical attraction to somebody, because there could be a person that I'm not necessarily super attracted to, but their personality is so great, it makes them more attractive. Does that make sense what I'm trying to say?
I feel like with this couple, for us...
It was neither.
It was like just average.
Yeah, I wasn't...
both things.
I wasn't... Yeah.
Not vibey. It just was just kind of more neutral.
More neutral, and the attraction, it wasn't that it wasn't there, it just...
Without the personality that we enjoyed as well, it just didn't...
It made it more neutral feeling as well. But... we had talked in the car, and we were both saying, okay, we need to go ahead and make a decision because they're expecting us to come back. We talked for like 10 or 15 minutes in the car. And we were both saying,
I think even before we started driving. So we did.
Yeah. But we said, okay, we need to text them to let them know because we told them yes, but now we're not even leaving to go towards their house.
Yeah. So this was even like our second chance to be like, hey... It's, we should have just been honest and just not have went.
I agree. But I think that part of me being so new in this, and I should have just said, no, I don't want to, But after we had said yes, there was a part of me, because of my personality type, that was almost feeling like I felt bad. I felt bad that we told them yes, they're expecting this now.
Yeah.
Because we had met them. It's not like we had said something earlier that was saying, I don't know how I feel about it. We had said yes. And so I almost felt like bad to say no.
Yeah.
So I still should have, but I didn't. So that's my fault. So we ended up going.
And that's something I think everyone can learn from that too. It's just, if anything ever doesn't feel right, just don't go through with it. It's not going to be worth it. Just give it time. I mean, maybe if we would have hung out with them again another time, it would have, like happened. I don't know.
But I remember we drove to their house.
Yeah.
And
So
it wasn't
we ended
late. It was probably like 8:30 at night, maybe.
Yeah.
We had not drank at all. Also, for me personally,
yeah.
I don't need to be drunk, but feeling a little bit of a buzz does help me feel more comfortable when it comes to sexual situations. I don't feel
just like liquid courage, like just like a little bit, just to like loosen
but it's not
you
the
up.
It's not the talking, but I feel like when it comes to actually like playing with people, I feel more comfortable being just a little bit buzzed or something, just to break down that barrier for me.
Yeah, just so you do. I think that's
I definitely was not at all.
Yeah, we didn't drink at all.
Like I had like half of a.
I think we like shared a drink or something because you were gonna drive.
Yeah, so it was so little that I had drank. I felt absolutely nothing, and so we got to their house because we texted them and said, "Okay, we're gonna come." We got to their house, and the first thing that they said was, okay, well, we let our babysitter go, so our babies are just sleeping upstairs. We just had to be kind of quiet.
Which was like
a huge red flag.
I don't know if it's a red flag. We just don't have kids, so we.
Well, I guess I'm saying more of a red flag if I already felt kind of.
Oh, it's red flag. Yeah.
Already kind of felt uncomfortable anyway, which I should have said no, but then I didn't, and then this is a second layer of like, you probably shouldn't go through with this.
Yeah, I remember whenever they said that I was. Not concerned isn't the word. I was just like taken aback.
And maybe it's because we don't have kids, but I felt a little uncomfortable knowing that the kids were in the house. It's almost like that funny thing where...
But they had a very beautiful house.
Oh, their house was beautiful.
It was like, honestly, one of the most beautiful houses I've seen. Because I think it was more like, I don't know if it was in the country, but it definitely wasn't in the city. And so... They had like a lot of land, and the house was huge. So
I mean, the baby probably couldn't hear us anyway because it was such a big house.
They were probably in like completely different corners of the house. I don't know.
But I had this thing in my head. I'm like, what if they have a baby mom and the baby starts crying? Like I was going through things like that in my head, and I just
or what if somebody walks in, or I don't know. We didn't know how old their kids were.
I mean, I think they were. I don't know, but. That was a red flag for me, and not saying that if you have kids and like you're comfortable with that. It was just for us not having kids and not knowing what that's really like.
Yeah.
I didn't know how to interpret that because maybe having kids upstairs is totally normal.
It probably is.
That's something. If you guys have kids or you're in the lifestyle, email us at Bella and Jase. Is that a normal...
Do you play with people? Like, do you have people over when your kids are still home?
Or do you normally, like, have your kids at somebody else's house when you're going to set up a play date? Or you go to somebody, like, what is normal for that? Because that just felt uncomfortable for me, and I'm wondering it's because we don't have kids. But maybe if we had kids, that feels completely normal. So that's just a genuine question of, is that weird to us? Or is that, like, a generalized odd thing?
Yeah.
But anyway, still kept going, and we went back to their bedroom, and it's still, we just were talking, and I remember clearly talking about Salem witch trials. Do you remember that?
No, I don't.
That is how moving towards like a sexy feel that it was going. Like that is literally what we were talking about. We just kept talking. They were sitting on their bed, and me and you were sitting on like a bench. They had like a little bench couch type thing in the room, and we were sitting over there. Like we were not close to each other at all. It was just not like a sexy feel. Like nothing felt sexual to me. Is that fair?
No, it is fair. I kind of got that. I don't know if it was because no one knew how to move it along either.
This is why we like our game,
Yeah,
which we will talk more about later because we love our game because it really helps in these awkward situations.
I don't know if any drinks were even... did they drink? I feel like usually whenever you go into someone's place...
they had
would
a
you
drink.
like to drink?
I think they had a drink at their place, but yeah, that was...
I don't think they offered or
not
anything, so I don't know.
Which is fine.
Yeah, which is
fine. But once again, I can't speak for you, but I know for me personally, having a little bit of something...
I'm the same way. I like to have a little... If we're playing... I can talk all day to somebody. I don't need to be tipsy to talk to somebody. But when it gets to playing...
sexual, I like to have that.
Just a little liquid courage. That's all it is. Mm-hmm. But,
So anyway, I don't want to say that. So what progressed next was us talking about random things to him just saying the bold statement of like... something along the lines of, hey, so are we going to play? Are we going to do something?
Yeah, so are we going to...
Which is a good call, because it would have sat there for so much longer. I mean, I totally understand that.
I was like, hey, let's get this party started or something. It always is usually... If you're not playing an icebreaker game, that's usually what happens. It's like one person is bold enough to be like, let's make this happen. Which I appreciate. Me too.
So...
I wish I was more like that, even to this day.
We're trying to be more like that. After he had asked that, I remember he was wearing a hat the whole night. He was a really nice-looking guy, but when he took his hat off, he had his head shaved, and he looked completely different. I think that's like a fair saying. He looked like a completely different person. I think every picture
that they sent, he always had a hat on.
Yeah, and so he took his hat off, and part of me was wondering, I was going through my head of, is Bella still attracted to him? Because he looks like a different person.
Yeah.
And that was going through my head during this whole situation. Not to say that he wasn't attractive without his hat on, but he just looked like a completely
I was still
different
attracted
person.
to him. So
But there was no way for us to communicate that because it was kind of...
I didn't ever know that you...
Yeah, I don't even think I'd ever told you that.
I didn't even know that went through your head.
That was something that was going through my head. So there was a lot of thoughts going through my head. And that was one of them, of me going, is she still attracted to him? But things are kind of... I mean, I figured you would have probably stopped it, but then that's a really awkward thing to stop if you just suddenly became unattracted to somebody. That'd be an awkward thing to stop.
Yeah. I mean, if it got to the point to where I wasn't attracted at all anymore, I think I would have said something.
I figured, but still, that was something that was going through my head. Because basically what happened was we went over... I think that you kind of started going down on me or something.
Yeah, I don't remember ever... I might have kissed her. We might have kissed a little bit, but I don't remember doing any girl-on-girl stuff.
I think that you went down on me and I got hard.
Yeah.
And then you started going over to him, and then she started to come over to me. And then at that point, that's like when I lost my erection and I just couldn't get it back.
Yeah. What do you think happened?
I mean, I think that performance anxiety in general is something that doesn't really get talked about that much, but I feel like it should be.
Yeah.
I feel like it's a really normal thing because me and you have talked about this before.
Yeah.
With a woman, you can use lube, and if you're not like super horny right then, you can still like let yourself get into the moment and take that, but for men, you kind of have to perform in a sense. Is that fair?
It's not that you have to perform. It just... I can see where there's more pressure on the guy because if
you're not hard, it can't work.
Yeah.
And so I think through all of those things of the vibe just not quite being there, me not really being that attracted because of just it's more of a neutral attraction.
Not like either of us were like taking one for the team,
or anything.
All. They were both really good. I think she just wasn't your type. Mm-hmm. In the end, that's what it came to.
And a lot of the time, we've done so with people that aren't necessarily my type. But if they have a good personality, it usually flows. And
it's not that they had bad personalities either. They were really good people. I keep
saying that incorrectly.
It's not. Yeah.
It was a personality that lined up with me. Yeah, it just didn't. Exactly.
Yeah,
we felt like we were in two different places in our life. Like,
it's not even different places in our life. It's more
I'm not
just
describing anything.
No,
right?
you're not. It's just that our personalities didn't mesh. They were great people. They were great looking people. It just didn't wasn't a good fit for us once we've met and everything. That's what it was. They had good personalities.
I'm going to stop trying to describe it. How Bella just described it is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
So basically, between that whole personality thing and me thinking about him, the kids being upstairs, not having a drink, there's just there's so much going on in my head. I think part of it too is when I have a little bit to drink, I kind of tend to live more in the moment and just enjoy what's happening.
And I had never been to someone else's place before to play, right?
That was the first time.
Where it had been at a club.
So it was a new environment as well.
Yeah.
And so basically, yeah, I had performance anxiety. I couldn't get an erection anymore. And it was just weird. And
and I remember I was going down on him, she was going down on you, but I didn't. And I remember looking over, but I thought that she was just giving you a blowjob, so I didn't know.
Yeah, and then I tried to bring you back over to me and have her go back to him, so I could try to talk to you.
I wonder if we had both done a double blowjob on you, if it would have. I don't know.
I just think that it just wasn't right. I just feel like it just wasn't meant to happen. And it should have never even got to that point.
Yeah.
If it would have been me 6 years into lifestyle, it would have never got to that point. We wouldn't have gone back to the place after drinks. If we somehow
not even 6 years. After the thing is,
after this experience.
Yeah, I was we needed this to happen to really be able to talk about what had happened. And for it to not happen again. But I do remember she saying, "What do you like?" Or something. I don't think that we switched back, actually. I think maybe I went and kissed you while she was still going down on you. And then I remember her saying, what do you like? Tell me what you like to try to get it.
You said that, yeah.
And then I remember I don't know if anything happened before, but you got up and you went to the bathroom.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's why I think you followed me in there so we could talk.
Yeah, and I was I'm going to go check on him.
And this is the first time I'd ever experienced that.
Yeah.
In my life, not being able to get an erection. And I just think that it's something kind of like the whole thing that you said earlier about saying, hey, we want to get up and talk should be normalized. I think that the talk or the idea of men not having to feel scared about performance anxiety is something that should be you should be able to talk to your partner about that. And I know that I listened to a podcast one time about it. Someone had talked about it. And I think that I'll let you talk on this after I tell you what I'm saying. Mm-hmm. But from me talking to you and what I heard in this podcast is whenever I couldn't perform, there was a part of me that felt really bad because I never want the person that I'm with to think that I'm unattracted to them or it's something with them. Mm-hmm. That is what I think scares me the most about performance anxiety is I don't want to offend somebody.
Right.
Because I'm in my own head.
Yeah.
Physiologically, you will work. If you're just enjoying it and you're in the moment, you will work.
Yeah.
Unless you're actually having a problem. But at 23 years old, unless something really is off, you don't have a problem with that.
Yeah.
And so when I listen to the other podcasts, when I've talked to you, all the women have said, I don't ever think that. I don't think that it's me.
Yeah, same.
I think that I just feel bad for the man that's going through it. That's what everyone said. And so will you talk on that about your perspective as a woman, and then let me talk about my perspective as a man of what's going on in our head. So you tell me what you think in a situation if somebody can't get hard. And let me say, before you actually get into that whole thing, when I said that my reasoning wasn't I said I don't ever want the woman to think I was unattracted to her. I want to clarify, it's not that I was unattracted to the girl in this situation. This was all literally me being in my own head. I was attracted to her. Like I said, maybe we didn't vibe perfectly, but it's not like I was unattracted to her.
Yeah, it wasn't
to
the point to where you weren't into it at all. Because you wanted it to go.
I wanted to do stuff. I would not have gone to their house if I didn't want stuff to happen. I wouldn't have tried. I wanted stuff to happen. Like, she was going down on me. Like, I wanted to fuck her. I did. I just couldn't get erect because of, I truly think it was more for me the drink than anything else. I think that I was in my own head and not being able to, like, because I've never, still to this day, I've never had sex with anyone but you if I wasn't, like, or completely sober. Every experience we've ever had, I've had at least, like, a little to drink, and I was feeling just a tiny bit of something just to be out of my own head.
Yeah.
And so I want to clarify that it really isn't that I wasn't unattracted to her, because
it wasn't that you were unattracted to her.
Yeah. I was attracted to her. Basically, I was attracted to her. I wanted it to happen, but because of me not having anything to drink, I got into my own head. Because of me thinking about him looking different, I was thinking about that situation. And because of me thinking about
the kids,
the babies upstairs, the kids upstairs, all of this was what was going through my head. And if I could have just been in the moment and enjoyed what we were doing, I know that I would have worked. But it was me not being in the situation. Why I couldn't get an erection had nothing to do with her at all. It was because of all of the things I was thinking about. Because I wasn't thinking about the sex. I was thinking about all the surrounding things that were making me feel uncomfortable. This podcast is brought to you by us, Bella and Jase. Do you guys love to have parties and you're always looking for a new game or something fun to do with them? Well, we do have the ultimate adult party game. It is the perfect icebreaker game for all of your lifestyle adventures. You can check more information out about that at foreplay.com/games.
We also have an introduction to swinging course that you can find at foreplay.com/learn. It has all the information that we wish we would have known before we got into the lifestyle. So hopefully it helps you a little bit earlier in your journey if you're interested in that. You can find that at foreplay.com/learn.
If you're looking for any lifestyle clothing and accessories, we do have a really awesome shop. You can check that out at foreplay.com/shop. All right, now back to the show.
And so, like, as a woman, I don't ever feel offended. Like, I always know. I can't speak for all women, but I mean, I feel like we know it's not because of us, and it's more you guys getting in your own head and just not being in the moment.
And I will say, once you kind of get into that mindset, it is more difficult to get out of it. Because then once you lose an erection, all you can think about is, oh my God, I have to get hard. I have to get hard. And when you're thinking,
think that's what happened to you, right? Because like once it was out, I don't think. Yeah. Then that's all you could focus on.
Yeah, because of the situations I got in my head and kind of let myself get out of the moment. And then once I couldn't get hard again, that's all I could think about.
Yeah.
That was it. And I was like, I have to get hard. I have to get hard. And truthfully, at that point, if we wanted stuff to continue happening, I would have needed to separate myself, go and breathe for a minute, and then go back with an open mind of just having fun and being in the moment. But if you really start to think...
At that point, we had never even talked like that. Yeah. We didn't even know how to go about that. So and I think we were just like nervous. And it's like, what are we going to do now? And I remember... So we were in the bathroom, and I was like, do you want to go? I was like, are you okay? Do you want to go? We don't have to keep doing this. Like, let's just... And
that's finally at that point I was like, I just want to go home. Like, I don't feel good. Like, I'll apologize to them or whatever. But I don't want to try to keep forcing something when clearly all the signs are pointing to this not of going on anyway. And then now this.
Yeah.
And at that point, I had never not been able to get an erection before. And so I'm like, what's wrong with me? Like, why can't I? What's like I'm with two pretty girls. Like, I'm having fun. Like, why am I not working?
Yeah.
And then you go through this whole thing of not knowing that, because at 23 years old, I had never not gotten an erection before.
Yeah, and then you were worried. Like, what if
so it was just this whole...
it's her.
Yeah, and then I felt bad. Like I said, I felt really bad that I didn't want her to be offended and her think that I was unattracted to her, or that it was something that she did.
Yeah, because I remember as soon as we walked out, you were like, hey, like, I'm so sorry. It's not you. It's really not you. I remember that was like the first thing you said.
Yeah, because I think that's the biggest thing with it, for me anyway, is I've I just would never want to offend anybody.
Or like hurt someone's
feelings
yeah.
because that can really be hurtful. And it wasn't her. Like, it just wasn't. And so it was all me, and it was all me being in my head. But like I said, I can't speak for all men, but after listening to that podcast, after talking to you, after hearing what other women have said about it, it makes me feel better. Because I feel like most women do just feel bad for men that when they can't, because it's
you guys are putting too much pressure on yourselves. If you were just in the moment, and I'm saying this like speaking as like you, like saying you just because Jase and I have talked about this a lot, even like from that time all the way up until like to this point now, like we've had these conversations multiple times, and so it's just stay in the moment and just think of what's going on instead of thinking about
performing.
Yeah, because it's not like you're not a porn star. Like this is like real life. This is reality, and you don't have to. We're just all having fun, so it's not like you have to put on a performance.
Yeah,
it's not.
And see, from that whole guy perspective, I didn't mean to interrupt you at all.
Oh no.
But from that guy perspective, 99% of the time, if you are in that situation, you want stuff to be happening. Probably about 99.9% of the time, I wanted stuff to happen that night. So that's what makes you feel even worse, is you're in your head saying, I really want this to happen. Like, I want to fuck her. I want to do this. I want to do whatever.
You're and then more pressure.
Exactly. And so then you just, it's like this slippery slope of you just get worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. And at that point, there's like, at some point it just feels like it's almost a lost cause. Like, what's the point of trying? But
why don't you touch on, so this has happened and then it's happened again before, how did you get out of it?
So you're saying like how to get out of your head, like in a situation like that?
Yeah, like maybe since you've experienced it, and then there's been other times which we'll touch on later on, but whenever we get to that point chronologically in our stories, but like you have, that's happened before, and you got out of your head, and then we continued.
Yeah.
So maybe touch on, since this is like,
I think the biggest thing is, first of all, if you don't want something, to know, okay, let's leave. I think that's the biggest step. If you want stuff to happen, you actually want to do something, that's one thing. But if you're already feeling uncomfortable, the best thing, because once it happens to you, it's something that lives in your head forever. I almost want to describe it like food poisoning in a way, where if you get sick from a McDonald's cheeseburger, right? You don't want to eat McDonald's cheeseburgers ever again, at least not for years. If you have performance anxiety, at least I can only speak for myself, but it's something that keeps going through your head. It's something that's like, what happened one time could happen again. I don't want it to happen again. So it's something that like lives in your head. And so that's the first thing. If you've never experienced it, don't push yourself to be in a situation you're uncomfortable with. Like, that's the biggest step, I think.
Yeah.
But if you are in a situation, or you've had it before, and you know what it's like to deal with that pressure that you're putting on yourself for absolutely no reason, I think the biggest thing is step away for a second. Like, literally just be like, go to the bathroom and just breathe for a second and get yourself out of your head. Don't think about trying to get hard. Don't think about what you're going to do next, or like, just breathe, calm yourself down, and try to go back with an open mind. Just have fun. A lot of the time, let's say that you're with the other girl and you're having trouble, because I think a lot of people have trouble because it's a new situation. And so maybe just spend some time with your partner and let them go back with their partner. Don't necessarily even play together. Just like do your own thing for a second. Like, let your wife go down on you, because it's comfortable and it's something that you know you love. It's something you know you're attracted to. Get yourself out of your head. Have sex with her. Get back into the moment of what you're doing and enjoy it, and then maybe switch again.
Yeah, because at that point, then maybe
it'll be easier, because now you're like, oh, well, I'm hard again. Oh, I'm having fun. But just try not to ever think that like it is your job to perform.
Yeah.
Everyone is there to have fun. And so you're just there literally to enjoy what you're doing. There's no pressure to make it work. No one's expecting it's not your job. Like you said, you're not a porn star. It's not like you're showing up on set and you have to work to make a paycheck. Like,
yeah.
You're doing this because it's something you love to do together. So to me, that's the biggest thing, I think, is trying to just like let go of everything you're holding on to and truly just immerse yourself in the moment, because you will enjoy it. If you're with the people you're attracted to, if you're with your wife, it doesn't matter if you're alone, if you're on a single date, whatever it is, if you truly are just enjoying the moment,
not thinking about anything else.
You will physically work unless you actually have an erectile dysfunction problem, which is a completely different story.
Yeah. That's a different topic.
So I think that's the biggest thing, is just really trying to be in the moment and enjoy what's happening.
Yeah, and we talked about more foreplay stuff. Like, don't always think that you have to. It's not all just fucking. Like, there's a lot that you can do.
Go down the
oral, finger her, or do kiss her neck.
I think that's a really great thing.
Yeah,
I think focusing on the girl and stop caring about yourself, because if you're going through and saying, I need to get hard. Oh, touch me, go down on me, I need to get hard. You're thinking about you getting an erection. Whereas if you stop focusing about that and you focus on the girl, so like you said, go down on the girl, finger her, try to make her come, kiss her, be in that moment of pleasuring your partner, pleasuring the other girl you're with.
Yeah.
And then after you've done that, your head will be focused on that, which is sexy. And then let her go down on you. And it'll probably help you. Or you might already have an erection again just because you're enjoying what you're doing.
Yeah, exactly.
So I think that's one of the biggest things. So I really do think, though, that if you are a man that has experienced performance anxiety, if you've never experienced it, whatever it is, you should talk about it with your partner. You should let them know, hey, I'm feeling this. Hey, this is what's going through my head.
Yeah, or like, what if this happens? Then
exactly.
Yeah.
And I don't even think it's a bad idea that if you're with a couple, right, and one guy can't perform, I don't think it's a bad thing for all 4 people to talk about it. Like, if you're uncomfortable with that, it's fine. But I think that if it's a
I don't know about that. That kind of like kills like it doesn't kill the vibe, but it just. I don't think everyone needs to stop to like have a conversation about it.
No, I mean more, it's like, why don't you guys go take a second? Like, why don't you guys go?
Yeah, that's okay.
That's what I'm trying to say. Not that we're all just sitting there like having a powwow, like conversating.
Okay, that's what I thought you were talking about.
I'm trying to say like, everyone have a conversation where it's like, hey, I need to stop for a second. Hey, everyone's aware of what's going on.
Yeah.
The idea of, hey, I'm not working for a second. You should go be with your partner, talk about it. We're fine over here. Like, I think that is something.
I don't know about that either. I don't know if the other couple should say that. Like, I don't think that they should say you're not working. Just more like, hey, if you guys need to go take a second, like, go ahead. Like, I think that's the way to go about it. Like, don't bring up what's happening because everyone knows. We know what's going on. So just be like, if you guys need to take a breather, like, go ahead and go take your breather. Like, it's fine. Like,
yeah. I think the most important thing is for you as a man to realize, and this is why I said to talk to your partner about it, realize what is making you feel uncomfortable, what is making you think about it. So is it that you're in a new environment? Is it that not being at your own place is making you feel uncomfortable? Is it that it's being with a girl you've never been with? Do you feel like you have to perform different? I know that I've told you before, part of the thing that goes into my head is I worry about not performing with you sometimes because I never want you to think that I'm not attracted to you. Mm-hmm. And I have this thing of, you're my wife and all I want to do is be able to please you for a whole life. And I would never want to not perform with you and then you think that it's something to do with you.
Yeah, and I know it's not. I know it's not.
But that's what needs to be said. Like, once I told you, hey, I'm dealing with this. Because I still have time, because it really is like a food poisoning. I still have times when I think about performance anxiety. It's something that's hard to just completely eliminate from your head. It just is. It's something that's stuck in your head. But being able to go through and touch your partner and say, this is why I think I experienced. Mm-hmm. This is what makes me feel uncomfortable. This is why. And after me talking to you, have like serious conversations about it. And like, I can tell you guys, I've thought of the most stupid things. Like, I'll be 100% transparent. I've thought like, well, what if I can't perform with Bella and then she doesn't love me, and then because she doesn't love me anymore, we can't be married anymore, we can't go on vacations and have this, like, that's how crazy you can get into your head.
Yeah.
And that's stupid. It really is stupid.
I know. Whenever you told me that, I was like, no, of course not. Of course I know that.
But
yeah.
You have to imagine that if you're a guy and you don't talk to your significant other about what's going on, and you're thinking, oh my God, if I can't perform, we're going to get divorced. I'm going to live by myself for the next 50 years. Like, that is an awful feeling. And that is a lot of pressure. It's like, I have to fuck great or else I'm going to be divorced by myself. Like, that's...
and that's crazy. A crazy thing to think about. So once you told me that,
And maybe I'm way worse than most men. But all I can say is for myself that once I was able to truly tell you take the time and be like... And this was recent.
Yeah,
like,
this is
really recent.
This was recent that we had this conversation.
Yeah,
and this is 2020.
Yeah, and I haven't had an issue performing in a long time. Like, it's been... I feel like several years since I've had really dealt with like performance anxiety where I couldn't work at all. Like, I feel like it's something that's gone through my head, but I feel like I've always at least
you've been able to like rebound from it.
Yeah, the one time that I haven't, I was able to just kind of take a second, breathe, and move on. So I feel like you just need to talk to your partners about it and be comfortable having that conversation, because it will make you feel better knowing that you don't have to put pressure on yourself. This isn't something that needs to be pressure. This is something that's supposed to be fun. You're supposed to enjoy. That's whether you're in an orgy or a couple or with your own partner. It's something you're supposed to enjoy. And so talk to your partner about it. Figure out what your things are that make you feel uncomfortable, that make you feel like you could not work, or what would make you not work.
Yeah. I remember once go ahead.
No, I just think the whole thing needs to be normalized, of being able to be a male and be proud enough to say, like, or maybe I don't know if proud enough's the word, but hey, I'm vulnerable. This is what I'm dealing with. Can we please talk about it so that we can move forward together as a couple? This isn't just me by myself. I feel like whenever we have that conversation, it's us moving forward together.
Yeah. And I know as soon as I told you, of course that's not what's going to happen. I know it's not me. I know you're in your own head. We're not going to get divorced. Like, this is a crazy slippery slope that you're going down that makes absolutely no sense. And then you were like, okay, that makes me feel better, it's not because you heard me say it.
Yeah, and that's what I said. It's not that I necessarily... I didn't actually believe that we were going to get divorced because I couldn't get hard or something. But just hearing you say no. Just hearing you say all of my stupid thoughts that I know aren't real is what made it feel better.
Yeah.
Just hearing you say it is what made it feel better. So I just think that's the biggest thing. Is it's a really hard. This wasn't a very fun podcast. Like, our next one, I'm sure, will be way more fun than this.
Yeah.
But I feel like it's something that needs to be talked about. I think that it's something that should be normalized.
Normal people, we're a normal couple.
I don't know, but I bet most guys have gone through it.
Yeah.
I bet most guys at some point in their life will or have gone through performance anxiety. If you're in the lifestyle, especially, when you're always in new environments, always in new situations, I feel like it's just something that someone will deal with. So I think it needs to be talked about. But, see, and this is also what I said about our game. Our game is so fun. And I think that if we would have been playing the game and moving things along in a fun way and not just forced into this sexual situation, I feel like that could have even made things better.
It's more of an icebreaker because the thing is, it's foreplay. That's
exactly.
Oh, that's literally our podcast.
Yeah.
I didn't even. It's literally the game. Our game is called foreplay too. Like, I didn't even hit until just now. But yeah, it's just what it is it's foreplay. So then everyone gets into this sexy feel, and it's easier to move along, so it doesn't feel rushed.
Because that was also something else that I didn't really touch on, and I really didn't even think about it until after saying it, but us going from being sober and having all these thoughts in my head already and just being like, okay, let's fuck.
Yeah.
To whereas if it would have been more like slowly moving into it and like, it's not like we didn't do foreplay at all, but if it just would have been taking its time and not just like...
We didn't, though. I think that's what it was. We didn't really... We flirted... Well, apparently you guys didn't flirt at all.
We didn't like really flirt at all. That was even more for me. Like,
and so it was just... we were like dumped into the situation. And I think maybe that's...
But I think it happened for a reason. I think we needed to have this conversation. I think it solved a lot of issues in the future. But...
Well, going back to the story, so we got out of the bathroom, we talked for a little, maybe like five, maybe even 10 minutes, I don't even know, and we got out and you apologized, I apologized, and then we said, I think we just need to go. And then they completely understood. They were completely cool about it. They were like,
like we saw them again later,
anything?
like at a club or something. We said hi. Like it was never like it was like weird, you know, like.
Yeah, it's not. I don't think they cared or anything. They completely understood, but then we went home.
Yeah, and I think we had a conversation about it, but
and then at home, yeah,
never like I said. I think at that point I was just like, "What's wrong with me? Am I broken?" Like something like that. I don't think I really had a full grasp of like what performance anxiety really even was.
Yeah.
And after me doing more research about it, I think that's what kind of prompted us to have these more full-on conversations. It was me listening to a podcast about it that made me realize this is normal.
What do you remember? What podcast? I'll put it in the notes.
I'll find out what it is. You guys listen to it because it was like a nurse practitioner that it was. I don't remember who it was, but we will put it down in the show notes.
Yeah, we'll link it.
But one of the couples invited on like a wellness coach that was also in the lifestyle that was like a nurse practitioner, and he talked about the difference between performance anxiety and erectile dysfunction.
Okay.
When you normally get it, what to do if you get it. Like he explained things way better than me, so we will link it below because that would be a really great thing to also listen to. And they talk about the same things we're talking about here. This is what made me open up to Bella about it. Is that talk to your partner, have the conversations. It's not a fun thing to talk about, but it helps make things more fun in the future because you can let go of something.
Yeah.
So we'll put it below because I think that'd be a really, really great thing.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I feel like that kind of wraps up this story. Wraps up this whole podcast. I want to know, is the kid thing weird or is the kid thing not weird? Are we weird? Or was that, just let us know. Email us at Bella and Jase.
I don't know. Bella and Jase
I feel like it probably is normal, and because we don't have kids, it felt abnormal to us. But
I don't know.
But let us know.
But a lot of the time, I feel like the couples that we play with kids, they get babysitters. So it's, I don't know. It's
So you let us know. And if you're a male or a couple, you've ever had like a thing with like performance anxiety, like
if you
email
guys
us, like
let us know your story.
Let us know how you got over it or what you did. Like I would love to hear.
Do you need more advice, or do you want us to do another Well, I don't really know what else we could say about this because that's all.
But if you guys have questions or something, you can always ask them, and we could always touch on it because I would love to hear about what other men had gone through it, like. Sometimes it's just good to hear other stories. It makes you feel not alone. It makes you feel better. It makes you feel like, because sometimes you see it and you're just like, well, they just always work. Everything's always perfect. Like, it's nice to know that everybody goes through something. So really,
something relatable. Yeah.
Email us if you've ever experienced it and you're feeling like, I would love to know how you got over it. And like I said, it's good to know that you're not alone. And I think that we're all that way, but we just don't talk about it.
Yeah. So let's end with our weekly obsessions. Bella and Jason, weekly obsessions.
My weekly obsessions. Okay, for music. What? No. Last week you stole both of my answers, so you're going first. You're going first. You can't steal both of my answers again. I'm not playing that game.
Okay. My favorite song. I hate that I don't know the name of the song, but it's by Black Bear and Lauv. And actually, no. My favorite song right now is, I can't remember the song. Hold on. What's the new Blackpink song?
Lovesick Girls?
Lovesick Girls.
That's literally what I was going to say.
So you stole mine.
No, because I said the name first.
But I just forgot the name.
That's my favorite. That's my favorite song right now.
That and the one that they have with Cardi B. Wow, I'm really bad with song names right now. Usually I'm really good. But
okay, let's think of our favorite. Why don't we just both say, whoever thinks of theirs first, just say it out loud.
No, you're probably going to think of it first.
For just our favorite thing. Our favorite weekly obsession for things.
Weekly obsession for things. I know.
If you do the same thing as me, I'm going to lose my shit on this one.
I highly doubt that it's me. Okay, it's an obsession that I haven't actually started, but mentally it's in my head, is organizing more. I started watching the home edit, and it's just all about organizing your house and all of your things, and I'm just obsessed with it. I just want to buy containers and labels and do everything. And I haven't yet, but I really want to.
Okay, my weekly obsession this week, it actually kind of goes along with the organizing thing.
What?
But so we bought a photo box thing that has all these things. So we're gonna start taking more pictures of our life and printing them out. We used to do it with film, but we were gonna print more things out and
Like on 4x6s.
yeah, and actually print them so that we can like look through and like have a memory of like what we did in our life. So that's my weekly obsession is we bought the photo box and hopefully we start taking more pictures and like printing them out like over these next couple weeks.
No, you can't say hopefully. You can't put that into the universe.
Oh,
we
are
did. We took some yesterday of us wearing masks and going and get donuts.
Yeah, so that's my thing is
taking more pictures
and printing them out so that we actually, because you have so many pictures on your phone, you never go back and look at them.
Yeah, this is coming from two photographers. So we are two professional photographers, and it's just having something in print. This is like off a tangent of what we're lifestyle stuff, but having pictures in print, whether it's in a book or you're holding them, like whenever you had disposable cameras and you got those developed, whenever you look back at those, it gives you a different feel.
It actually takes you back to the moment.
Yeah, than just looking through your phone or looking on Facebook memories or whatever it is. When you hold it, at least for us, it's just different. So.
Yeah, so that's my weekly obsession is actually doing that. But, all right, hit us with the outro. Where can they find us? What's going on?
If you'd like to support the show, you can leave us a 5-star review wherever you're listening to our podcast. All our information will be listed in the show notes below. You can email us at fourplaypodcast@gmail.com. That's the number 4, O-U-R, playpodcast@gmail.com with any questions or comments, or head to fourplay.com/ask. We have a digital online game called Foreplay the Game. It's the ultimate adult party game for the sexually inclined and perfect for breaking the ice. You can find more information at foreplay.com/games. We give away 1 free game of Foreplay Plus a month to a listener who writes a review, so just screenshot your review and email it to us for a chance to win. We have swinger and lifestyle clothing and accessories at foreplay.com/shop and courses at foreplay.com/learn. And we also have a Facebook group called Foreplay Community and would love for you to join at facebook.com/group/foreplay community. We're on Twitter at Foreplay Podcast and Instagram at Hey Bella Luna and at Hey JSB. I have an OnlyFans, which you can find at onlyfans.com/BellaLunaVIP or my free one at BellaLunaFree. Lastly, we're on Cassidy and SDC at Bella and Jase, and you can get a free 30-day full membership by using our link. Again, all our information will be listed in the show notes below, and we thank you so much for listening to our podcast. See you in the next one. Bye!